doing tonight? We got another, what do you know, salad to make. We're gonna make another 5-star salad. And tonight we've got, I think we're gonna make a ranch dressing. So welcome to everybody on Instagram as well. Yeah, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Once again, it's already almost 6:30, so we're getting kind of late here. But I'm trying to jump on here more and just kind of, give you guys some more ideas how to make these salads. So yeah, let's go. So we've got red leaf lettuce, once again. Tonight we're gonna use some baby bok choy. So that's a new one we haven't had for a little while. We've got, again, of course, the celery. Got 3 stalks. Got a few leaves of collards. We've got cilantro. Now, why would we use cilantro? Why would we use a fresh herb, you guys? Because it's part of the 5-star salad, that's why. We're gonna also just throw in this limpy piece of rainbow chard that needs to get used. And then we've got a few leaves of lacinato kale. All right, so we've got our greens covered. We've got like 4 or 5 different types of greens. So that's the way to do it. And then we will go over the, well, we'll just do it right now. So to put as our additive ingredients, so I've got a zucchini right here. This is gonna go into the dressing. We've got half of a lemon, that's also for the dressing. We've got some jalapeno, some grape tomatoes, some Roma tomatoes, yellow onion this time. So normally we do red onion, but we've got some yellow onions that need to be used. So we're gonna use those. Not only do they need to be used, but you gotta remember you wanna have a diversity of different plants. So you wanna not always use the same type of onion. So I'm gonna use some yellow onion because I've been on kind of a streak with the red onion. So we're gonna get some different prebiotic fibers by using the yellow onion, because remember, each different plant has a unique type of fiber within it. So no other plant has the yellow onion fiber. Remember that. So that's why you want to get a variety of different plants so that you can feed all those little microbes in your intestines. We've got 1 carrot, 1 little cucumber, and I don't remember if I mentioned the mushrooms. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've counted 6 different colors so far. There's more. I'm gonna stop there. So we've met that criteria. Remember guys, what is the 5 criteria to make a 5-star salad? First criteria, it's gotta be at least 16 ounces of leafy green vegetables. Second criteria, you gotta have at least 1 type of cruciferous leafy green. Now we've actually got 2 different, actually 3, because collards, I'm pretty positive collards are a cruciferous leafy green. So we've got bok choy, kale, and collards. So that's 3 different varieties of cruciferous vegetables. Those are gonna give us those isothiocyanate compounds, the sulforaphane, to do a lot of really good things in our body. It activates phase 2 detoxification in our liver. It increases the butyrate producing microbes in our gut. It does a bunch of other things that we're gonna really enjoy. So the third criteria, anybody? It is having 5 different colors in our salad. The fourth one is to have at least one fresh herb. So we've got our cilantro. And then the 5th and final criteria is to have a whole food dressing. All right, so that's how you make a 5-star salad. That's how you make a salad that is going to fill you up and give you that satiation that you know, you feel like you ate a meal. Otherwise, you know, people are just talking trash about the salads, saying that they just don't get full eating a salad. But that's why you got to make it in this with this blueprint. This is going to help you go a long ways with your salad eating habits, and hopefully you will make a daily habit out of eating a salad like this. All right, so let's get started here washing our greens.
Cindy Compton and Vegan Jerry say hi.
Hi, Cindy and Jerry. Great to have you guys with us. What are you guys having for dinner tonight?
Lisa D also says hi.
Hey, Lisa. Is anybody else making a 5-star salad?
I have one.
Celine's got one. All right, so again, we're just gonna chop this up really finely. Okay, guys, I gotta give you guys a little tip. Do not put your finger on the knife right on top of it and press down really hard. I cut my finger on the back of the knife last night. I didn't know that was possible, but so I've seen other people, when they're cutting with their knife, they hold it, they use their 2 fingers like this, and somehow they hold it from the side. So
I just put mine on the black part.
it just feels so weird to cut like that.
Because it's far.
Well, it's just, I don't know, it bends my wrist weird. So I'm just gonna do what you do and just use the handle. Way back in 2014, when I think it was 2014, when I took my raw food chef certification course, we did go over knife skills, but I clearly forgot that part of the class.
I've always wanted to learn knife skills.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a pretty small part of the class, you know. Most of it was about the nutrition science and how to create recipes and things like that. So
For knife skills, I could probably just YouTube that.
yeah, you could.
Lisa D says she loves your salad bowl.
Thank you.
And she has had mostly bananas today so far.
Okay.
And then Vegan Jerry is having a salad and lentils.
Nice.
Not completely raw.
Okay.
Which is no problem.
No big deal.
And we are all one. They had a big mixed fruit bowl just now.
Nice. That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah, they said it was super good.
Nice. All right, so now let's do the kale. And I was thinking, guys, I was trying to think of what I wanted to talk about tonight. And if you guys have any ideas, feel free to let us know what you want to discuss. So I've told you guys last time that I've been doing a lot of studying of the microbiome. Kind of seems like everybody's doing studying on the microbiome right now. But some of the stuff that I've learned today, or the last couple days, took some notes. So, how to improve intestinal mucosa and gut motility. So that's something that's pretty important, you know. Gotta have the proper bowel transit time if you want to have a healthy gut flora. If you have constipation or things just move through you too slowly, that gives too much time for that material to sit in the intestines, and the longer it sits there more than it should, that creates more degradation byproducts and more harmful chemicals that are produced. So it needs to go through at just the right pace for the microbes to be able to turn it into beneficial compounds that we need, and then move it along and get it out as, you know, as it needs to. So,
because like you're saying, if it's in there for too long, it will reabsorb.
Right, yeah, especially in the colon. If you're constipated and you've got waste material, I know, hopefully this isn't too much information, but as a child, when I was younger, I used to not go to the bathroom when I had the urge to. So I would hold it in, and sometimes I would hold it in for like days or a day, you know. Like I would hold it and I wouldn't go until the next day. And so, I mean, that's one of the worst possible things that we can do for our colon health and just for our gut microbiome health. That's how, like Celine said, you reabsorb a lot of those toxins at the absorption. So your toxins are moving through, you're trying to eliminate it. If they get jammed up and they're sitting there, the job of the colon is to absorb excess water and absorb the constituents that are, you know, meant to be absorbed. But if there's even toxins that are in there, they're in there too long, we can reabsorb those, and that's called auto-intoxication. So make sure you've got a consistent bowel movement regimen. But some of the tips to help you improve your gut motility: one, you want to make sure that you're getting enough minerals, right? So minerals are really important for the nervous system, and the nervous system in our gut, in our intestinal tract, is called the enteric nervous system. So this is a huge matrix of nerve cells, neurons. It runs throughout our entire GI tract, and it actually has more nerve cells than our spinal cord. So it's trillions of nerve cells, and it's just a massive network of communication which communicates with our brain. It's called the gut-brain axis. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about this. It's getting more and more common for people to talk about this. Years ago, when I used to teach this stuff in my classes back when I was actually teaching in-person classes. And it was a lot less talked about at that time. It was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, it's just, a lot of people don't understand that we have an actual, like, fully functioning nervous system in our intestines that is somewhat separate from, you know, our overall general peripheral nervous system. So even without direction from the brain, so the communication between the brain and the gut is bilateral. It goes both ways. So the brain tells the gut what to do sometimes, and then the gut sends information to the brain. And actually more information goes from the gut to the brain than goes from the brain to the gut. And the enteric nervous system, the nervous system in our gut, can actually function independently from the central nervous system, the brain. So even if for whatever reason the brain loses communication with our gut, like say I don't know if it's possible, but if the vagus nerve was somehow severed or loses function, the enteric nervous system could still function. So it's kind of a brain of its own. But yeah, so we need proper amount of minerals, because minerals help with the conductivity in our fluids, which helps to, I mean, that's necessary for the nerve impulses to travel from neuron to neuron across those synapses. So if there's not enough conductivity, the rate of communication slows down, and that's not good for any of us. So get enough minerals, guys, and that is exactly what meals like this are going to give you.
Lisa has a related question.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the link between low thyroid function and gut health? I've heard that a dysfunctional thyroid can lead to low stomach acid and other digestive problems.
Oh, well, the gut honestly is connected to every part of the body. So, you know, the gut is going to, the intestines, the gut is actually an endocrine, it's our largest endocrine organ. And so, you know, just like the thyroid is part of our endocrine system, the gut can influence the hormone levels within the, you know, throughout the body and the brain, and it can affect, you know, the communication. I would have to really, you know, freshen up on some of that, but I would say definitely there could be a connection between gut health and the thyroid health, because, you know, anything that's going to affect our overall hormonal balance, that's going to have an impact on all of our other organs as well. So if the, you know, all of the neurotransmitters and many of the hormones that we have that are created from our endocrine system, it's also created from our gut. So if the gut is dysfunctional and not producing enough hormones like serotonin and, you know, dopamine and all the other ones, that could certainly have an effect on the thyroid, because, you know, that, again, the body is a whole system. It all works together, and if one of the components are weak or damaged, then, you know, it's going to affect everything else in some way. You know, sometimes it may not be noticeable, but over time it would become noticeable, but it might not be acutely noticeable, you know, in the moment. So again, something I would have to actually dig into a little bit more to get, you know, to have a little bit more of a useful answer for you. But yeah, that's what I would say. I would say, you know, I think if there's any sort of dysfunction in the body going on, going to gut health is always a good idea. You know, always trying to shore up your gut health, because I really believe that is, you know, like, was it Hippocrates that said all disease starts in the gut? You know, I think the gut should be one of the very first things that we look to if we're trying to improve the condition of other areas of the body. So.
Arm Jr. has a question. Is it ideal to eat garlic by using a garlic crusher? Like, is it still optimal to eat it that way?
A garlic press?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with using a garlic press. There's nothing that would do to, you know, lessen the benefits from it that I'm aware of. So, I mean, we use garlic press when we're making some recipes. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
Because we even blend the garlic in dressing, so
Right.
I wonder if they were asking, like, because it's damaging cell walls and if it...
No. I'm pretty sure, actually, that, you know, they say that it's good to break those cell walls, and then, you know, it's similar to how the glucosinolates in the cruciferous vegetables, you need to break that cell wall, and then they mix with the myrosinase enzyme to create the sulforaphane, the isocyanates. And that takes, I think they say, like, I don't know, 15 minutes or some 20 minutes. Now, that's not to say that that wouldn't happen if you chewed it with your mouth and swallowed it, because it would still do the work as it's in your body. But, you know, same concept. Even if you were to cut the kale like I did just now when I, you know, in 20-30 minutes, the you know, the myrosinase will have mixed with the glucosinolates and created those compounds that I'll get. So yeah, I don't see a problem with doing that at all.
It sounds like they were more specifically asking, like they've heard in this community, I think, that it's not okay to eat garlic in general.
Oh.
That was cool to hear that explanation, though. That was helpful for me, even.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so they're saying, like, good to know that we eat garlic.
Yeah, we eat garlic. Yep. So that's more of like a
natural hygiene.
Yeah, a natural hygienist point of view is that garlic is somehow toxic to the body. They essentially say if you can't eat it as a meal, then you shouldn't eat it at all, which I personally don't align with. You know, I don't always just go by science and what the studies say. I don't think that's like the
end all be all.
Yeah, I don't think that's always the right thing to do. But in this case, I feel like there's enough evidence that they have studied that shows that it does have benefits. And so personally, I choose to consume it, just like I choose to consume garlic or ginger and onion and, you know, dried herbs, things like that, that a pure natural hygienist probably would not agree with. So I agree with a lot of things that natural hygiene has to say with the philosophy of natural hygiene. I do align with a lot of it, but not completely. So I base a lot of what I believe from the natural hygienist teachings, but I don't handcuff myself to that philosophy. I kind of still make my own, you know, system that works for me. So hope that helps. And, you know, I think the best thing to do is to test it on yourself. So if you consume garlic and it doesn't make you feel well, then I would say don't eat it, you know. And if you do consume, maybe go a certain length of time without consuming it so that you can see how you feel, and then add it back in and see how you feel. That's kind of what I do to determine if something is going to be what I want to include in my diet.
They said that they had read it in Shelton's books.
Yeah.
And they also said thank you so much and gave us a super chat.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Arm Jr.
Yeah, that's very kind. Thank you.
Kirk is here.
What's up, Kirk?
Kirk says that he was fruitarian but stopped because he was becoming really skinny.
Oh, yeah.
And now eats a balance of fruit and vegetables all raw.
Nice.
So he must have been all fruit.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I experienced a lot of that too. And I just, you know, I just feel like if I, like I was saying last time, you know, if I lived in Costa Rica, it would be way easier to eat more fruit and to have a higher percentage of my diet be fruit, because then I'd be eating some of those more tropical fruits that are more satiating. They have a little more substance to them, like papayas and mangoes and, you know, mame sapote and all these different more dense fruits. But I mean, when I'm here in Minnesota eating grapes, seedless grapes, and like mandarin oranges, you know, it's just not practical for me to be eating that much fruit. And I guess bananas. So I have, you know, bananas are more dense, but I can only eat so many bananas.
You still eat a high percentage of fruit for living in Minnesota.
Yeah, I still eat 1.5 to 2 meals of my day is fruit. So I'm not saying I don't agree with eating fruit, obviously. I still consider myself essentially fruitarian. I know a lot of people think that the term fruitarian means that we only eat fruit, but it doesn't. It just means that we eat a high percentage of our calories from fruit. So I think there's a little misconception with that. All right, so now I'm just gonna chop up. So I've got my other greens. I'm gonna do the fresh herb here. Oh, and I keep putting my cut finger on that.
It's gonna burn if you get lemon in it.
I know.
Lisa says, thanks for your answer with the thyroid.
You're welcome.
Should she soak seeds and nuts, or do you end up losing nutrients that way? She's heard it both ways.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways too. I believe that soaking them is probably the best way to go. You know, there's videos about the phytic acid from Dr. Greger, I know I think he's made a video about it. And I've heard other plant-based doctors talk about that the phytic acid is actually anti-carcinogenic in the gut. But the way I see it is when you soak the nuts or seeds, you're actually increasing the bioavailability of a lot of those nutrients. And you are washing away some of the phytic acid, which is an enzyme inhibitor. So it's going to improve our digestibility, but I don't believe that soaking them is going to remove all of the phytic acid. So you're still, if that is a beneficial component that, you know, we've kind of assumed was negative for so long, whether it's good or not good, I think reducing it, you're still going to get some of that in there, but then you're also going to get the benefit of the soaked and activated seeds, where they're easier to digest and the nutrient composition starts to improve. So I think you get the best of both worlds when you do soak them, because I do think that you're still going to get traces of the phytic acid. I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to, or if there's some other nutrient that you've heard that we lose. I don't know of any other nutrients that we lose by soaking it. So personally, I do believe that soaking nuts and seeds is a good thing to do. And I think I have videos, or a video, talking about how I soak my nuts and seeds in bulk, and then I will dehydrate them in the dehydrator overnight or for like 10 to 12 hours until they're fully dry. And then I can store them in the fridge, and that way I don't have to soak nuts or seeds every time that I want to use them to get off the enzyme inhibitor. So they're just always ready to go. So that's kind of how we do it.
She said that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Kirk says, do you eat beans? And then another question is, can you teach us how to make ranch dressing? That's the one thing I can't and refuse to give up.
I am gonna make that tonight for you, Kirk. Just since you said that you like ranch dressing, I was thinking I better give you a little treat tonight. So yeah, we're gonna make ranch dressing. The problem is I was just gonna make it by memory, so I hope that the way that I make it tonight is
your actual recipe.
yeah, is the
that
actual recipe. I don't know about this onion.
Was there mold on the bottom?
No, it's just
Or was it the sprouted one?
yeah. And it's really wet inside.
Yeah, throw it away if it's not good. Smell it, yeah.
It smells okay. I'll just go with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll make some ranch dressing tonight, and if it doesn't turn out, I will do another recipe. I'll do another show. The next show that we do, I'll do the actual recipe. I'll get it from the computer.
And he asked, do you eat beans?
Oh, yeah. We've been sprouting a lot of beans lately. So beans and lentils. So mung beans. The French lentils, different types of lentils I'm going to start getting more into, which actually I was going to talk about because not that I don't want to get too much into the reductionist mindset of thinking I need to eat certain foods to get certain nutrients, because I do believe you just eat a well-balanced, whole food, plant-based diet and you're going to get everything you need without having to really think too much about certain nutrients, especially protein. But since I'm doing this research, I did learn that there are supposedly like 4 specific proteins that are particularly important for creating for allowing our goblet cells, which are the cells that produce our mucus layer in
Adorable name.
goblet cells. So they create what is called mucin.
I did not see that coming.
And the mucin is what makes up the mucus. So sounds similar. And then mucin 2, so the mucus layer in our intestines is made up of basically 2 layers, 2 parts to it. So the lumen, which is the empty space within the intestines, the part closest to the lumen is more of like a watery, liquidy consistency. And that's where all of the microbes and little critters live. So they kind of stay in there. And then the lower layer that is actually
closer to the intestinal wall.
Yeah, it actually adheres to the epithelial cells in the intestinal lining, and that is a more solid, thicker layer that it's not, no bacteria are really going into that. They stay up in the more liquidy section of the mucus, and then there's that thicker, more protective layer that keeps things out of getting into the circulation. So the form of mucin, they call it mucin 2. Our goblet cells, they squirt out this mucin 2, and it kind of just coats.
They empty the goblet of mucin.
Exactly. So they coat the intestine with this mucin 2, and so there's supposedly like 4 proteins that are important, especially important for producing mucin or mucin 2. And so those 4 proteins are threonine, serine, proline, and cysteine. See, now again, I'm not one to really get too caught up in the weeds when it comes to this sort of stuff, because I think when people do that, they kind of get, they can get confused and off track and just start like including things just based on one nutrient that they're probably getting anyways from their variety in their diet. But the lentils and the pea sprouts, the green pea sprouts, those are higher in these proteins than many other vegetables. So I think that's just another way that eating these sprouted lentils and peas and beans are beneficial to our gut health. On top of the prebiotic fibers and the other components to them that help our microbes. But I just thought that was interesting that those specific proteins were more involved with mucus production.
So when someone has leaky gut, is it because that more outer layer gets the gap spaces?
Well, I think it's the lower, the under layer that's adhesive to the epithelial cells, because that's the protective layer.
When you say lower layer, is that the outer layer?
The inside layer.
Oh.
So there's the lumen, then I would consider it the outside layer, and then the inside layer.
Okay.
So the inside layer is that thicker, more protective layer.
Yeah, against the intestinal wall.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, the bacteria again live on that more watery outside layer of mucus, and so the bacteria actually don't even come in contact with our cell wall. So they communicate through the mucus. Essentially, they communicate through neurotransmitters and different chemicals that get sent through the mucus lining, and that's what it communicates with our immune system, and they help produce some of those vitamins and hormones that we benefit from and that our body uses to regulate itself. So yeah, and so I won't ever try and come off like I'm 100% raw all the time. So my brother was just staying with us not too long ago, and he really enjoys like hummus and things like that, bean dip, and I was having some of that in my salads too. So I'll have some cooked food here and there, but predominantly my diet is always going to be about 90 to 95% raw. I'm not dogmatic about it. I'm open to eating other healthy whole plant foods.
Something important to note about that is that you're not replacing that.
Right. Yeah.
You're not replacing the bean dip hummus with your salad.
Right.
You're adding it to your salad instead of a dressing, or maybe with a little bit of a dressing to add more variety and excitement to your salad.
Yeah.
So it's like adding a side dish, as opposed to.
Yep.
It's just so important to keep, especially if you're going to add in cooked foods like lentil soup or, beans.
Oh, and the split peas that we would make split pea soup.
Yeah.
Over the winter. We were making some split pea soup.
Yeah, and it's always eaten with the salad.
Right, exactly. If I'm going to eat any sort of cooked food, I'm going to have it with a salad like this.
Because so importantly, how we were just talking about gut health. I don't know if you can hear me when you're talking.
Oh, sorry.
You just want to keep your bowel transit time as short as possible.
Right.
You want to keep things moving. In a salad, all of the leafy greens act as the broom in your colon. So it will help keep things moving very efficiently.
Yeah. And the hydration level if you're eating cooked foods just by themselves, they are so dehydrating. And the more dehydrated the material is as it goes through your intestines, the slower the transit time. So if you're eating cooked food and you're not including a salad like this, you're going to have a slower transit time, and that's going to leave more opportunity for fermentation and putrefaction and, you know, the microbes to start creating byproducts that we
You
don't want. So it's just always a good idea if you're going to eat cooked food to eat it with a nice helping of raw salad.
I honestly believe that as long as it's plant-based whole foods, you're gonna be fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we really don't believe there's anything necessarily wrong with eating cooked beans or cooked quinoa or
Right.
what else? Cooked split peas, you know?
Yeah.
We do think something so important though is that you cook it with clean water.
Right. Conscious cooking is what I like to call it.
Yes.
You want, if you're gonna cook anything, you want to use conscious cooking methods. Ideally, you want to have it cooked in a moist environment, so like boiling or steaming, you know, rather than baking. Just because one, you're going to produce less acrylamides, less aromatic hydrocarbons, and the other chemicals that are created during the cooking process. They're, if at all, I still have to do a little more research because I've heard both ways that when you steam, or especially like in an Instant Pot, that you don't actually create any of those cooking chemicals, you know, the acrylamides and things like that. So it's really only when you're using dry high heat. And so if you're going to cook, I think conscious cooking is the way to go. And for me personally, if I can't eat too much cooked food, or I start to really feel, you know, less energetic and less mentally clear. And so, you know, I always prefer to have the majority of my food, the vast majority, be raw. And then if I want to have some cooked food, like some steamed vegetables in my salad or something like that, then I'll do it that way. I'll steam them, or, you know, put them in the Instant Pot, things like that. So. All right, so let's do the tomatoes. Maybe a quick little update here. Oh.
You don't want this?
No. And remember, guys, if you're cutting tomatoes, the serrated knife works really well.
We're all about the proper tools.
Yes.
For the proper produce. Even though that's for bread, I guess.
All right, so again, back to the improving your intestinal mucosa and gut motility. So we talked about the minerals, talked about, what else did I talk about? So another thing, obviously, what we always talk about is the insoluble fiber. You want to get those prebiotics, that insoluble fiber, You know, each different one is going to be food for a different beneficial microbe, and that's what they create postbiotics with, the short chain fatty acids and other beneficial compounds that help us to stay as healthy as possible. So get the insoluble fiber, that's always a good idea. And fasting and intermittent fasting have shown to be beneficial for certain microbes, the good microbes. So there are some microbes that thrive in a non-fed state, right? So if you're constantly eating and you're always in a fed state, then those beneficial microbes, they cannot reproduce, they cannot thrive, right? So they require a non-fed environment. And what, you know, the research that I've listened to, the experts say is 16 hours seems to be the sweet spot. Like 12 to 16 hours is kind of the window that I keep hearing to help these microbes. And so, you know, typically I'm done eating by 6 o'clock, and then I don't start eating the next day until like between 11 and 12. So what does that give me? 6? Oh,
6 to 6.
That's like
18.
17 hours, something like that. Yeah. So.
The time change is messed up.
Yeah. and again, the eating window that people eat in, I think, has to just really be personalized. I don't think it's a really practical to just, you know, for me to say my eating window is 17 hours, or my fasted state is 17 hours. So that's what other people's should be, because I adjust mine based on my situation. You know, I didn't have a 17-hour fasting period while I was working in the office. So now that I work from home, I now have the opportunity, and it's just kind of worked out that way. I didn't necessarily do it intentionally. I wasn't thinking like 17 hours is what I want to be at, or, you know, 16 or 18. It just kind of naturally, organically happened that way. So, you know, as close as that 12 to 16 hour window you can get to, and, you know, do it over time. If you're not even close to that, you know, don't just jump right to it, unless you're that kind of person. Some people are like that. Other people do better when they go slow, and they just kind of incrementally increase the fasted time. And, you know, there's been points where I was just eating, you know, anytime. And so, you know, it's
early in your journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, at various points. I mean, I guess the times when I was kind of just eating whenever was more, it's more just kind of random now. Some days.
Well, the only times you do it now is if I make us juice. True. And you have a juice to start to digest it before your smoothie.
Yeah. I'm thinking more so back when I was going into the office.
Oh, yeah.
And when I would, so.
You would drink your smoothie like at 9:30.
Yeah. I would get hungrier, and this is I guess my theory, my kind of line of thought is that I eat based on, I try to eat based on like what my body is telling me. I know that can be dangerous because somebody can walk by a pizza stand and now their body's telling them that they're hungry. But, you know, I try to be as intelligent and conscious as possible about it. So when I was going into the office, I would get hungrier much faster because, much earlier, sorry. Just the environment, you know, there's a little more stress, a little more anxiety being in the office environment. And so based on that, I would tend to just want to eat earlier, and so I did. But now that I'm home and, you know, there's really nothing, you know, no environmental factors that really make me feel like I want to eat. I pretty much glide through the morning without any sense of hunger, and it's not until so I typically do a little workout at like, you know, on my break at like 11-ish, and then I'll have a smoothie after that at like between 11:30 and 12, somewhere around that window. And then that works really well for me. And then, you know, I'll have another fruit meal in like 3 or 4 hours, around 3 o'clock or so. And then I'll have dinner at like 5 or so, 5:30 typically. Obviously, when I'm doing these videos, I just, you know, throw that out the window. But that's kind of what my routine has molded into in this environment. So again, it's not, you know, we shouldn't just base our own eating habits on what somebody else is doing, because it can vary based on their current situation. And so I think everybody needs to figure out what works best for them and what makes them feel the best, and, you know, just play with it and just kind of experiment and see, you know, what you like.
That's so true, because I bet if like we were back in the office, you would like probably immediately start drinking your smoothies at 9:30 or 10 again, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I was like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's the tough thing, is that people hear what other people on social media are doing and try to match it to their life, but it just, you don't know, like sometimes we don't know the whole story, or like their environment is just way more conducive to that. You know, so.
Yep.
They said they could hear me over your chopping. So
Oh, really?
You can chop.
Cool. Guys, we just ordered some new microphones. So gonna be clip-on lapel microphones.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're gonna just crank up the quality of our videos.
Yes.
So I'm not having. I feel like I have to yell when I'm making these videos, because it's
the
just
camera's like 5 feet away.
Yeah, it's just so open in here, and I just feel like I want you guys to hear me. And so we're gonna get some new microphones in here, and I won't have to scream so much. But you know, it's so nice to have nice quality sound in a video. That it's just.
Hopefully these don't disappoint. Now we're setting the
Yeah.
bar, and like it's taking like 5 days for shipping, so now we're like so eager, so they better work good.
I know.
Kirk says he only eats 2 meals a day.
Nice.
2 times a day. First meal is around noon, and the last meal is at 3.
Oh, okay. Ah, that's nice. I do that sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But your last meal would be like at 4.
Yeah.
You do that like often.
Mm-hmm.
And your second meal is, I washed it, so.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Your second meal is like, you often skip that.
Yeah.
And it's usually just like snack size.
Right. Yeah. The thing with me is I
kind of do that too.
Yeah. I could eat 2 meals a day, no problem, and be perfectly happy. And that's probably, from a health and longevity standpoint, that's probably what I should do. But because I'm still vain and just not wanting to, you know, I like looking a little heavier, not chubby, but like a little thicker, you know. And if I'm only eating 2 meals a day, I tend to start to lose a little bit.
You drop weight.
Yeah, I drop a little more weight, which, you know, is fine. But again, that's just my personal, thing. So probably ideally 2 meals a day would suit me and be, perfectly probably healthier than how I eat now. But that's just a choice that I'm making at this point. I'll probably change it later.
Arm Jr. says that they do better with their eating when they go into the office, because when they work from home, they eat way more.
Oh. Yeah.
I was like that at first. Like when we first started working from home last year, I would eat a lot more. What did they call it? Like quarantine 15.
The quarantine 15. Yeah.
But I did that at first, and then now I just got into my routine, I guess. I don't know. But don't worry, that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. It's just another example of how everybody is different and everybody has their own, optimal way of doing things. So, all right, so we're going to put in some lentil sprouts. I like the way that Doug Evans talks about making sprouts a food rather than a garnish. I think that's so true, because I've always, and I've still, just because we're still kind of figuring out the amount to sprout at one time, and so we kind of make it last for a few days, but making sprouts more of a food than a garnish, I think is a great idea. Just because they're so nutrient dense, they're so cheap to grow, and it's just, I think it's
the freshest food on our bowl.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
our plate.
Exactly. We need to get some more sprouting jars,
Yeah.
so that we can have more going at the same time.
That's our only limitation right now.
Yeah.
That's why there's still a topping, not a
Yeah.
main.
A garnish.
Yeah.
All right, now we've also got some broccoli sprouts. Did you want any of these?
No.
Okay. And for people that don't like broccoli, broccoli sprouts are a great alternative.
They're really spicy.
You think so?
They're have a kick. I think I just need to get used to them. I've only had them twice, so I need to have them a few more times.
Yeah, I guess they do. A little bit. All right, and then I guess a few pea sprouts.
Oh, I want pea sprouts.
We need to start soaking more.
Every day we say that.
I know. So that's a salad. Now we're just gonna make the dressing. Kirk, I hope you're still with us.
Oh, Kirk's here.
All right, so 1/2 of a lemon peeled. Toss that in.
Here, I'm gonna put it into the chat.
Okay. We want to do 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds.
Oh no.
What?
I clicked send before. Hold on, go slow.
Okay.
Three tablespoon hemp seeds.
Now what I do sometimes also is I'll do kind of like I showed last time, where I'll do a little less of one seed and then I'll put in like a Brazil nut to get that extra selenium. Sometimes I'll do like 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds and then 1 tablespoon of like sesame seeds, just to get, you know, a variety of different nutrients, without getting too obsessive with seeking out specific nutrients. But also adding in 1 tablespoon of sunflower seeds to the hemp seeds. It gives it a little more volume as well. Hemp seeds are so light, you know, so they make the consistency a little more runny. And so if you substitute 1 tablespoon of the hemp with like sesame or sunflower, that helps to give it a little more creaminess. Or psyllium husk, whole psyllium husk.
Sure. We order from Amazon. We alternate between brands, but we just get whatever organic whole psyllium husk.
Yeah.
You want to show what it looks like on a tablespoon?
Oh yeah. All right, so we're gonna add this in there. Did you what? Did you want me to put it in or no?
No, show on the camera what they look like.
Okay. Can you see that?
It's like flaky. So when you order it, it says whole psyllium husk, and if it's like, it comes flaky. It's not some crazy like seed thing that you have to blend down.
Right.
The husk is already like flaked.
Yeah, and get the whole psyllium husk.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not powder.
Yeah. Or like, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay. So
should I put that in the recipe? 1 tablespoon?
No, not a tablespoon. Oh. If I was gonna put it in, I would put in like 2 teaspoons.
Okay. Should I add that right now here?
Well, because we're using the zucchini, then I wouldn't necessarily think that I would need this.
Okay. We
can see at the end what the consistency is like. But typically, the zucchini acts as the filler.
Thickener, okay.
Yeah. All right, now, when you're making ranch, you want it to be mostly white. So we're gonna peel the green.
The color.
Yeah, we're gonna peel off. And this one really needs to be used. It's starting to get a little moldy.
It is?
Yeah. So we're gonna peel it anyways. We would have peeled it anyways. Hey, Jack.
The whole thing or half?
I think I'm just gonna do the whole thing. Typically, I think the actual recipe is just half of a medium zucchini. But tonight I'm gonna put it all in.
Because we need to use it?
Yeah. All right, so 1 medium zucchini, peeled. And then we're gonna need 1 to 2 cloves of garlic.
How do you decide between 1 and 2?
Personal preference.
Okay.
I just usually do 1. So this is a pretty big clove. So if it's just a little tiny clove, I'll usually maybe do 2. So, all right. So zucchini, garlic.
Do you need nooch or?
No.
Dill.
Yep. We're gonna be putting in some dill.
Dried.
Oh yeah, we've got lemon in there too. And this is, dried dill. I'm gonna do I feel like one, just a little bit over 1 teaspoon. I think 1 is probably fine.
I'll put heaping.
Yeah, 1 heaping teaspoon of dill, dried dill. You can do fresh dill too if you've got it. That would be even more flavorful, I think. And then, actually black pepper might be part of the actual recipe. I think that's it. Let me look at our spices.
Onion.
Oh, maybe. All right.
Do you want me to try to pull up the recipe? Or is it on one of your ebooks?
I don't know, I forget. I think it might be.
On one of the ebooks?
Maybe, yeah. And the first one? The...
Savory?
Yep. All right, so I'm just gonna do 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Actually, I'm gonna do like half a teaspoon. And we're just gonna try that.
Oh, we got it. We have the recipe.
Yeah? What is it?
Yes. So yeah, 1 medium zucchini. You do have the whole thing.
Oh.
You put garlic granules in there.
Oh, okay.
But now you put clove. That's
Yep.
fine. 1 teaspoon onion granules.
Oh, perfect.
2 tablespoons fresh dill. Oh, fresh dill.
Fresh.
Yeah. 2 teaspoons fresh chives.
I don't have chives.
Do we have dried chives?
I don't think so.
I thought I got some.
Did you? Oh, is that it?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, so
1/2 lemon, 1/8 teaspoon black pepper,
okay.
1/3 cup water. But that's when you were putting 1/4 hemp seeds.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna put a little black pepper in there. Did you grind this?
No.
Oh. So typically, if I'm gonna use black pepper, I always use whole the whole seed, and then I grind it myself because you want those essential oils that are in the whole seed. But if you are using just pre-ground black pepper, you lose a lot of the nutritional benefit from those oils. So if at all possible, if you can get the whole seed and grind those as you need it, that's what I would recommend. Okay, so do I have everything in here?
You got the chives, you got the dill, lemon, black pepper, onion granules, garlic, zucchini, hemp.
Cool.
So how much chives did you put? 1 teaspoon?
Yeah, something like that. It might have been 2.
This is modified from the recipe book because in that we put fresh dill, fresh chives. So.
And how much water did that say?
1/3 cup.
Well, I did 3/4 of a cup. I think it works.
Right now you did 3/4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to update that recipe.
Yeah, you can update the ebook.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm going kind of slow right now.
That's okay. I'm sending the recipe.
Okay. So the ranch dressing for the die-hard ranch people out there that that really want it to taste like ranch, you may want to add a pinch of salt. So I don't use salt very often in any of my recipes, but I do find that if the ranch has just a small pinch of salt, it makes it taste more like authentic ranch. For me, it's not necessary, but in some of the classes that I've taught, people are so used to eating salty foods that their taste buds haven't adjusted to the whole natural flavor of foods. So a little bit of salt in this dressing might make it taste better to you. Yeah, it doesn't taste exactly like dill or like ranch. Unless let me just try with a little touch of salt.
Don't disappoint Kirk.
I know.
We gotta get him off that Hidden Valley stuff.
Oh no, definitely. Oh, perfect.
Oh, really? A dash of salt. Sea salt.
I think so. Kirk, you're gonna have to try this recipe and let me know what you think, how it compares to your Hidden Valley, if that's what you're eating. But yeah, so that is my ranch dressing. Celine, you put it in the chat. So it's in the chat if you want to grab that. So now, here we go. It's a little greener than I think ranch typically is. This makes a lot.
Yeah. Well, the zucchini.
Yeah. So, I mean, this
consistency is nice.
Yeah. This is a recipe you could use, this could be 2 nights worth of dressing. So, it makes quite a bit. I'm just a glutton, so I put it all in. All right.
You're not a glutton. Look how you just salad.
So I think that's it. Once again, it's past my eating time, but
wow.
Happy to connect with you guys. Thank you, Kirk. It's always a pleasure to have you on the channel here. And let me know what you think of this recipe. I want to know your thoughts specifically. Yeah, so guys, I think that pretty much takes care of it. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments box after we get this posted. And I hope you enjoyed making this or watching me make this salad, and I hope you'll make it yourself. Let me know. Send me your pictures. Tag me on Instagram or probably Instagram. That's probably the best place to tag me while I'm still allowed to be on there. So just keep tagging me with your salad pictures. 5-star salad is the hashtag that I've been using. So hashtag 5-star salad. That's the number 5-star salad. And then tag me, Raw Intuition, on Instagram with your photos of your salads. That would be awesome. Yeah, so thanks again, guys. Hope you all have a great night, and I will catch you later. Always follow your raw intuition.